Okay, y'all. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, but what I'm going to do. Okay, I think we're back. Having some technical difficulties. Y'all know how it is sometimes with social media. So we're gonna try this again. While KO was coming up, I don't want to read through the bio and everything again. I'm just trying to. There he goes. He's back. Back in here. Devil don't like my kind of talk when I be talking about Aggie Lane. There we go. He's back.
Oh,
Can you hear
stinking
me now?
devil was hating on us.
So this is my hard question I got for you, bro. How in the world did you pass up A&T for Morgan State? I gotta know.
Great question. Great question. Okay, so I was playing football, right? Grew up in Greensboro,
Okay.
and I was like, I wanted to see the world a little bit more. You know what I mean? So I had schools that was recruiting me in
Okay.
California. I felt like Maryland wasn't that far to where it's like if I needed to get back to my mom or like I could. So it was like that nice little midpoint. So if I had to do it all over again, I don't know, man. Like I love the pride that like North Carolina shows for A&T. But man, I built so many crazy relationships in Baltimore. Like I met my wife in college. You know what I mean? So I couldn't trade that,
Gotcha.
dog.
Okay. Okay. I ain't even gonna get in the way of that because that was a God thing. That was a God thing. So listen, one of the first things we do, if you guys don't know already, that ID Talks is a show where we talk about creativity, calling, and purpose and identity for those who are believers, who are creators, right? So I want to start with this. Every week I ask a question, and this question is to the person I'm interviewing, but in their selection of their song goes to the playlist. So we have a playlist on Spotify and on Apple Music called ID Talks, and it's going to have the same kind of energy or whatever. But the question I have is, what is a song that you listen to that gets your creative juices flowing or encourages you to keep going when you're feeling frustrated with music?
Ooh, I gotta go like.
And and it don't have to be gospel. It can be R&B. It can be anything. Of course, we're gonna have the clean version because I don't want the saints to be
No,
offended.
it is gonna be gospel. That daggone Marvin Sapp never would have made it. Like
Okay.
that's my cut, and also chasing after you for Sean Mitchell. All right, so like
Okay.
I'm a super energetic person, but whenever I hear that song, like if I'm driving, I start speeding a little bit. You know what I mean? Like
Just
that
get a little
joint just
heavy.
get me. It just get me crunk. But really, what gets me creative, man, I got to get in the word and I study the word first. Cause
Okay.
see, I don't want to be one of these artists out here just freestyling the word of God. Like you gotta have some scripture behind that thing. You know what I mean? So I get in the word, I study the word, and then I let God do what He do. You know?
Dope. Dope. That's what's up. So I will be adding Never Would Have Made It. And because I actually the person I interviewed last week didn't have a song, I'll also be adding Chasing After You. So
Let's go.
if you guys check it out, it's in my link tree on my bio. So if you aren't already, let's follow each other. So let's jump into some fun. The first thing we do is always a game, and that's how we just kind of break the ice. So the first game or the first thing we're gonna do tonight is something called First Things First. I'm going to give you, I originally put 5 seconds. I'm going to give you 7 seconds to give me the name or response to these five prompts. All right. So we're just going to
Uh-oh.
go down the list. You got it. And it's got to be can't be the first thing that comes to mind. This is the first thing that you ever did or had. All right. Does that
All
make
right.
sense? All right. So your first thing for tonight is your first album you ever bought.
Oh, it was Casey and JoJo. I can't remember that name. Oh my life.
Wow.
That
Wow.
was the first one.
You know, it's something about us church guys that like when we love God, we love a good R&B song. I have to say that. I have to put that out there. You know, sometimes we try to listen to something that's too ratchet. You know, we might have a little ratchet moment there here and there, but
Yeah.
you know, we be picking them real soulful. You know,
Man, that was my
proclaiming
joint
our
right
love
there.
to somebody. Okay, so the next one, first job you ever worked.
Yo, overnight stock No, it was a deconstruction job at like this temp agency. They bought a warehouse and we had to tear up the warehouse. It was horrible, but my mama made me get a job, so I did
it. Okay, okay. One of my friends said you gotta have R&B. Yeah, you gotta have some R&B in there.
Got to.
All right, so the next one. The first class you ever failed.
Shoot, it was mad. I didn't fail though. I didn't fail.
Okay.
The teacher, I would have failed, and the teacher was like, if you bring in some batteries for the TI-83, they would pass you. So I bought her some batteries, and I was going to class every day. I just couldn't get it. They passed me.
If y'all know anything about the TI-83, I hated using that calculator. How about that?
That was the devil.
It was the devil. All right, so the next one, your first best friend.
Oh, shoot. My boy Maury Smith, okay. Northeast Guilford, okay. Gang.
And then the last one is the first car you ever bought.
Dang, the first one. Yo, it was a 2004 Mercury Sable. And I told him the month after I paid it off.
Lord, we buying totally paid off vehicles in Jesus' name. I got a year left on my truck. I'm buying that spirit now.
Jeez. Yep.
That's what's up. That's funny. So listen, man, we're gonna jump right into this interview. And listen, y'all, if you guys are watching and you have questions, put them in the chat. And we're gonna shoot them out. All right. So, Kayo, my first question to you is, what does identity mean to you?
Just being your truest self, and number one, loving yourself. A lot of people I feel like aren't comfortable in their own skin, or they try to be something that they're not. Man, I'm me every single day. I don't care who's around. I don't turn it on or turn it off. It's like you like it or you don't. You know what I mean? Just being true to yourself.
Dope. My next question for you is, when did you discover your purpose? Like, take us on the journey, because in your bio you said you started out as being a secular artist and you switched over, but you also talked about playing football. I'm sure there were some lessons that you learned in playing football that translated over into music. So take us on the journey. How did you discover your purpose?
Man, I always thought I was gonna be in the NFL, and I got hurt my senior year in Morgan. Football kind of went down the drain. Like, now that I'm older, I can look back on it objectively and be like, I don't know if I was good enough to make it in the NFL anyway. Now, you couldn't tell me that back then, you know what I mean? But just being real. So, started really jumping head first into music, but I feel like I was rapping about a lot of things that I was seeing, you know, or what I thought was cool. So I was in the club, so I'll rap about being in the club, popping bottles and getting girls. So I'm rapping about getting girls and money, and I ain't have either, bro. But that's what I rap about. I mean, it just sounded cool. But what started happening is it started getting harder and harder for me to write the trash that I was writing. You know what I mean? It's hard to rap about, you know, fornication and all this other stuff, and you in church every week. Like that stuff, like it starts to pull on you. And I started just listening to more Christian artists, you know, Canton Jones, Lecrae, and then seeing they stuff. I'm like, yo, man, that go hard, man. Like I want to do something like that. And then once that seed got planted, I just started working, man.
Dope. So how old were you when you first wrote your first like gospel rap?
Shoot, gospel rap. Maybe like 26, 27. But the crazy part, so I started rapping, man, it was like third grade, bro. So in elementary school, me and my boys, we was in like a little rap group together. We was in like this fake Jackson 5 group. I was the 6th member. I was Poe Jackson. They gave me a fake name. And I would just try to write poems or little raps, but I would make them funny. So they let me be in the group. And then I just kept going. But man, God ain't really pulled me on the shoulder, bro. I was like late 20s, man.
Okay. No, so let's before I go there, somebody just put in the question. Is your wife online on here now?
Man, yeah, so if y'all see Johnny Lockman in the comments trolling, okay, that's my wife, all right?
Listen, I'm here for the troll because I like to see black love. I like to see love in general, but I love to see black love, and I love to see Christians who love each other. So your wife told me to ask this question. How much do you love her?
Uh, like I can't even put a measure on it.
Okay,
Like
okay, okay.
that's my real man. You know, that's my
Okay.
dog right there.
I
Love
had to
her.
make sure this. I had to set you up right first. I didn't want somebody
Yeah,
to be trolling for real, and then come in correct, and then I put it out there, and
right.
I'm
I was
like,
like,
wait a minute,
she
these are
eyed.
not to be used. Yeah, look, she said the eye emojis. That's too funny. Okay, so you said that you started like beatboxing on a no freestyle at the lunch table, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the first? What was the first like rapper that you heard that you were like intrigued in like how they were delivering what they had going?
Man, you know what's crazy? It was my homeboy Maury. Like we had so many dope rappers at my school. My boy Yusha just did a song with Raheem Devon. He's big time. You know what I
I
mean?
know you should. That's wild.
That's my brother. All right, like
I know
since we
you
were
should.
like we grew up together. We used to live together for a while.
Wow.
My boy Jay is a really big producer out in Cali. Like works with a lot of people. So when we were like 10 or 11, somebody would start beating on the table and they would start rapping. I was out like Yusha, Maury, they were always way better than me. You know what I mean? So I
Okay.
was just striving to kind of get what they were in, and I just kept working, bro.
Got you. Got you. That's dope. So did you do like a talent show? Did you do any kind of performing like on stages before you? Because I know it's a little different sometimes for like singers than it is for rappers, right? So like me, I sang in church. Like my
Yeah.
grandfather used to host gospel musicals all the time. Me and my cousins didn't have a choice. He would be like, now my grandkids are coming. Come on up here and sing. And we learned eventually like have a song ready because Papa gonna sing. He gonna ask us to sing. Ain't no need not to be prepared, right? But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's different. So did you have any like experiences where like it was a talent show or like even maybe at your church where they was like, oh, let them, do as a rap or something like that? Did you have any of those
Y'all,
experiences before?
don't y'all judge me for what I'm finna say. My first performance, we were singing R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly. We sung it at the 5th grade graduation. That's my first time being on stage, and I loved it. Now, y'all, I can't sing to save my life, okay? But I just liked being up there, right? So at high school, though, we started doing like local shows. We had a group called Official Combination. I'm talking about we were printing up CDs, selling them around the city. Like, we was them dudes if you would have asked us. You know what I mean?
Got
But
it.
we were really like, we was hustling, man. We were working hard.
Mhm. Okay, dope, 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 dope. So, how were you trained, or what? I mean, you kind of talked about a little bit, being around your friends and stuff, but like, how did you start sharpening? Like, okay, I really want to do this gospel rap thing, and I don't want to be a gimmick. So, how do I really get this thing on and popping?
Man, you honestly, you got to spend that time. Like most of the time, if I'm just driving in the car, I'm listening to beats, right? Because I try not to listen to the radio too much because I don't want to get influenced by like what a lot of other people are doing. You know, like I want to make sure that I stay true to my sound. So a lot of times I'm just listening to beats. I'm freestyling. Um, Sometimes I think of like a random topic and try to just randomly make a song about it. Like I just feel like you always should be like steadily perfecting your craft. I try to do something music related like every single day. It just keeps me on point, whether it's playing in social media, whether it's writing a song, with like I'm in my studio right now, like if it's recording a record real quick, like I try to do something every day. Look at my wife, she's like, yeah, he does.
Man, you gotta exercise that muscle. I know some songwriters who write at least a song a day. I know one guy I was working with, he was producing my record. I think he wrote like he was writing at least 3 songs a day.
Mm-hmm.
Now I work a full-time job, so I don't necessarily, not to say nobody else does, don't, but I don't always have the liberty to write 3 songs a
Yeah,
day. But I'm one of the things I'm going to challenge myself to do in 2023 is try to write a song a day. Now they may not all get recorded every day, but I'm
yeah.
gonna try to write a song a day.
But man, you
Yeah.
you you know what's crazy though? It's like gotta put it together how it's supposed to come together, and you ain't even gonna feel like you forcing it. Like there are times where I have writer's block, and I feel like I cannot write a record. It might be a week or two, and then some days I get in this studio and it's like 5 or 6 records. Just, But see, I understand that's not coming from me. That's coming from God. So
Yeah.
I try to make sure that I don't force any record. I don't force any relationship. Like I just flow in the spirit, and I just let God control the plays. You know.
Dope. So let's talk about your creative process. So, I know you earlier you said you don't do a lot of listening to the radio. Even when we
Mm-hmm.
did the icebreaker question, you were saying like, you're using the word of God as what kind of keeps you grounded, keeps you inspired, keeps you uplifted. But what's your creative process? How do you choose the right kind of track? How do you know? Take us on that process for you.
All right, so I've been blessed to where I have like a lot of producers, um, like a handful to where if I need something, like they'll send me a batch of beats or whatever, and I would go through the batch and I try to find a beat that immediately, like a hook, just jumps out at me, or I turn on a beat and I can just immediately start rapping to it a little bit. If I could do that, I'm like, I might got something. Because you have certain
Gotcha.
records that you can listen to. See, you're going to relate to this. You probably have beats that you've been sitting on for forever because they just haven't spoken to you yet. But
Yep.
then one day, you just like, oh, snap, like I got it now. You know what I mean? So if I could just start rapping to it a little bit, I'd be like, okay, like maybe I could work this one. And what I try to do is I try to record a record. One of the perks of having a home studio, I try to record it almost as soon as I write it. I know some people are different,
Gotcha.
but I try to catch the emotion of the record. Like if I'm feeling sad and you writing like a more somber type of record, I want to record it while I'm feeling somber. I don't want to record it now that I'm happy, you know. And then the same thing, if I'm in a great mood, I want to record it while I'm like uplifted and super pumped. I don't want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. It's almost for me, I sometimes have to use a little bit of like method acting or method mentality of like taking myself back to that place where I wrote it from, or
Mm-hmm.
taking myself to a place that reminds me of a similar emotion that would be able to be conveyed across the record. So yeah,
Exactly.
I definitely get that. Um, so um, who would you say are like your top three gospel rappers that like you listen to when you do listen to music to kind of spark that creativity? I mean, I understand like as a songwriter and singer, sometimes I don't listen to a whole bunch of other music because sometimes I'm trying to keep my head clear. Other times, I'm one of those people I can actually glean from a whole bunch of different people. I can hear somebody say one thing and be like, oh, I can take that little piece, push the rest of the song away, and be like, all right, let me
Mm-hmm.
break this off from this. So every person's process is different. But tell me who are like your top three that you listen to and inspire you the most?
Look, this ain't gonna be it ain't gonna be a short answer, right? But I gotta set this up for
Okay.
y'all. So I had a concert in Atlanta, and I linked up with some really, really dope artists, man, to where feel like those are my brothers. We still like we have a group chat, we have Bible study together, like it's really dope. When I tell you those are the guys that I listen to, like that's who I listen to because those are some of the most anointed, strong, scripturally correct brothers, you know, that I know. So one of them's named Razzie, one of them's named Ray Duggar. I listen to Ray Duggar a ton, and my boy
Ray
Trey
Duggar from
Lou.
DC.
Yes, yes,
It's so
God is
crazy.
my
So
drip.
I met Ray Duggar at a event I had sung at. I think I had sung there the year before, and it's a like a youth group or young adult group. They have before the pandemic. They was having an event every year, and
Mm-hmm.
I met him there some years ago. It's so funny because I met him and we were talking. He was like, "Yo, I want to pray for you. I want to pray that you find your wife." And I was
Yeah,
like, okay, I receive it. Now I don't know if I found it yet, but I'm still out here looking. But
man, let me tell
it's
you,
funny he's mentioned, and one of my other friends just mentioned her the other day because she works at a grocery store part time.
mm-hmm.
She's working in a grocery store, sees a guy with an outfit on, and it's his clothing brand.
God
So
is my
she said
drip.
that she said she was Googling, like, or looking on Facebook to see who the guy was. And she was like, who was the other person that I saw that was friends with him? I was like, who? She was like, you. And I was like, well, who is it? She was like, Ray Duggar. And I was like, oh, I know who Ray
Yeah,
is. Small world,
powerful
man.
brother, man, and he's so pure hearted. Like his testimony is crazy. Look, man, y'all got to get on YouTube and watch Ray Duggar's testimony. It literally just hit 1 million views the other day. Like crazy.
Wow.
Yes, God's moving, man. So I want you to understand, like all of us brothers are like in the same chat. So it's crazy. Like when we're going through stuff, it's like you got somebody to pray for you. You know, like I hope my wife doesn't mind if I share this, but like I gotta tell you how good God has been to us, man. You know, we have a baby due January 1st. Man, we were trying for a little while. We lost the baby twice. So I remember when we found out we had conceived again, man, I hopped in the chat and I said, yo, bro, this has happened again. It's the third time now. And I'm like, I'm thankful for God. I said, but I'm scared, like, because I don't want to get let down again. You know what I'm saying? And those brothers hopped in that chat and prayed so hard for me and my wife. By the time I put my phone down, I had no doubts that we was good. Ray Duggar on there saying he prayed first trimester angels, second trimester angels, third trimester. I had never heard nobody pray like that before. But when I got off of that phone, I said, oh, babe, we good, man. Like, we good.
Yeah.
And the pregnancy is going smooth, man. So God is great, man. And that's the importance of being surrounded by strong, like-minded people, even when you don't feel strong yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny, me and my family, so me and my cousins, some of my cousins are on here now. We just did a what's going on, Melvin? We did a Bible study earlier, and one of the things we was reading in Philippians, when I say it was Philippians 1 and like 13, I would pull it up, but it was on my phone.
Yeah.
But one of the things it said was that in like a translation, it said that Paul was saying he was thanking the church of Philippi for partnering with him to do the
Mm-hmm.
work of God. And there's
Mm-hmm.
something about, and me and my cousins was talking about something powerful about partnership. Like when we come together and we partner with one another and we're on the same team, we can get a lot more done. Which
Exactly.
really, to me, goes back into this identity and creativity and really just being who God has called you to be. Even in being an individual, we are a sum total of the things around us and our experiences, and
Mm-hmm.
our experiences are connected to other people. So it's really important to have a good solid team around you. I want to go, since you kind of open that door, and if it's too much, I respect you and your wife's privacy, but how has that process of losing strengthened your faith, and how have you put that into your creativity, into your music?
Whew, man. Just transparent. Like, man, I feel like I went through everything. Like, you know, scared, grief, anger, you know. But man, it brought us closer. Like it was never a moment to where we were bumping heads whatsoever. I can honestly say, like, me and my wife rarely argue. Like, she just cool. She's so chill. You know what I mean? So throughout that process, I just try to hold on to the fact that I know that God didn't make any mistakes. And that when it was supposed to line up, it was gonna line up. Now it's a trip because I feel like I'm it's easy to preach to other people and give other people advice, but then when it's your behind in the fire, it hit a little different. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's easy to tell my brothers like, nah, man, you got this, you got this. But see, sometimes you gotta encourage yourself, man. So I really had to tell myself, like, yo, God doesn't make any mistakes. It's a reason why this is happening. It ain't supposed to make sense to you now because his ways are way greater than our ways, you know. But I knew that I just
Most
felt when it
definitely.
was gonna line up, it was gonna be how it was supposed to be, man. So it's crazy. We get to church on Sunday, man, and my pastor tells me and my wife to stand up, and he's like, "Yo, y'all are for the minister." I said, "Wow!" Like, you know, like once again, when God lines it up, it's gonna be way better than how you could have ever worked it out for yourself. So it is so hard to trust God when you're going through storms. I'm just really trying to, in this season of my life, I'm just trying to be obedient. Cause I've been disobedient for so long. I've been disobedient a long time, y'all. So I'm trying to see how this obedience thing work out. And it's been a ride, man.
Dope, dope. Um, the next question I have is, what's one of the challenges you had to overcome to become who you are? Maybe it was like something in your childhood, maybe it was your own mindset. Is there any, is there, if there is one, or just one, or share what you feel comfortable sharing, but tell us about a challenge you had to overcome to become who you are.
Man, life, yo, let's be real. Like, I don't think Christians, like, I feel like sometimes we give like we sugarcoat stuff. Life punches everybody in the stomach sometime, man. And like anybody else, man, I had moments where I wanted to quit. You know, some years ago, my dad got killed on Christmas Eve. I lost my mother a few years ago. Like, came home, she was laying on the floor. Took her to the hospital. Like, we're by my mom's side having praise and worship while they was unplugging stuff. You know, and
Mm,
that hurt. You know what I mean? Because you can't get time back. You can't get time back, man. Um,
yeah,
but once again, it's like life hits everybody. It hits everybody, and it's all about how you react to it. You can allow yourself to, like, you're gonna be sad, you're gonna grieve, right? But you can allow yourself to really fall into depression, or you can thank God for all the good years that y'all had together, for all the good times. I know my mama was saved. I ain't had no doubt about it. So I try to remind myself my mom ain't hurting no more. My mama at the after party. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get there
yeah,
one day. So you just gotta really just, like, whatever you're going through, there's literally a scripture that can remedy it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
that's what it is, man.
Man, that's major. And it's so interesting that you share that. I've kind of have two thoughts. Um, I'll share the first one. The first thing I want to say is it's hard to be depressed and sad when you have a heart of gratefulness.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for if you're in a
Jesus.
place, if you if
Hold
you're in a rough
up, man. Hold
place,
up.
right?
Say that again. Say it again. Because my pastor just said that on Sunday. He just
it's
said that.
hard it's hard to be depressed and sad when you live in a place of gratefulness.
Yeah.
During that whole pandemic, I started a habit. Every day at noon, I list three things that I'm grateful for, and I try to make them brand new things every time. And it's funny because if I'm on a trip, if I got people around me, I stop what I'm doing and I'll be like, no, all y'all, come on, what y'all got, what y'all grateful for? I had some friends who were in Tennessee, and they were like, Chester, what are we doing? Like, what you make us stop for? And I was like, we need to do I call it grateful check. And they're like, what is that? So I explained it to them. They was like, wow, it literally, we did it every day on the trip, to the point that, like, at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the trip, some people were in tears because they were like, yo, I needed to, like, remind myself, like, who I am, what God has called me to be,
Come
what
on.
God is doing in my life. So it's hard to be grateful. I mean, it's hard to be sad and depressed when you live and you speak from a place of gratefulness. And so what I hear you say is, like, you've had some hard times, but you let praise be the answer. Like, you let your Thanksgiving be the thing that brings you out. And then you talked about losing your father on Christmas Eve and losing both your mom, and we're literally entering into the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
For so many people who suffer from SAD, which is, can't remember what the acronym means, but when the time changes, is less light, they start falling into, like, seasonal depression. There's so many people who have, the heaviness of, like, family or not having family. Maybe their family is toxic, or, like,
Mm-hmm.
they got crazy, communication, and it don't really work out well, or they don't have no family at all. You have some people who, like, are single and they feel the loneliness at the holiday. There's so many different facets to what people face at this time. My question to you is, how do you navigate, losing these loved ones who are pivotal, in
Mm-hmm.
the midst of, because your life couldn't stop. You just talked
Yeah.
about, you lost if I say this right, you had two miscarriages. Your wife had two miscarriages. Then you talk about losing your mom and your dad. That's
Mm-hmm.
four people, I'm assuming, within the last few years.
Yeah.
Some
It was
people would
pretty
have
quick.
lost their mind behind that. Some people would have quit by now
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, yo, I'm quitting on faith and I'm quitting on life. I'm quitting on God because it don't work. But you didn't. So tell us, like, how do you navigate? How do you get through the holidays? How do you push through with all these different losses? Because when I see you, I can say this. You're my third interview. My very first interview was one of my good friends. She's bubbly, but she's calm until you see her on stage, right?
Yeah.
The guy I interviewed last week, he's a chill, like, kind of even kill guy. As soon as you got on the screen, all I see is, like, energy, the same kind of energy I have. So it made me excited, like, oh, I got somebody to turn up like I am,
Yeah.
right? Not to say you don't go through hard stuff,
Yeah.
but you're exuding joy.
Yeah.
So help me and help somebody else understand who might be watching, who might be having a hard time figuring out, like, I got a couple days of Thanksgiving, I don't even feel like it. Like, how do you get through it, and what would you say to them?
Man, you got to get at God. Like I'm telling you, like, this joy and the peace that I have, that's all God. You know, like, do I get sad? Like, yeah. Like when my mom passed, the funeral home gave us like this cute little angel, like to put on the tree. Me and my wife were putting up the tree the other day. Like I put my little mama angel up there. I felt like I had one little single tear that was like, yeah, you still get sad. I miss my mom's sweet potato pie. That's I miss that. But once again, it's like I think about all the things that God has delivered me from, and I can remember being, 13 and the doctor told me I was a dead man walking. I remember stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Woo,
So it's like,
wait a minute. Say that again.
How 13 doctor told me I was a dead man walking. And I ain't look now I'm 36? Look, I'm today now I'll be forgetting how old I am. 36 now, it's like, yeah, bro, I remember stuff like that. So when I tell y'all God is amazing, like nothing happens to me to where it's like I'll allow myself to just get my day totally messed up, man. Because God has been, he's faithful when we're not faithful. He loves us when we don't love ourselves. Like that's facts, man. And it's just the more you strive for God, like how you said, it's hard to be depressed when you're grateful. Yeah, it's hard to not be happy when you know whose you are. Like, you know what I mean? You know who you are, and then you know whose you are, man. So no, I don't allow myself to walk around and I also understand that I control the energy of my household, right? So if I walk around grumpy and mumpy, now my wife, she looking at me like, man, what's wrong with this joker? You know what I mean? Oh, Big Bay got an attitude today. But see, if I woke up with the spirit of thankfulness and I'm excited, I'm up making coffee and I'm playing with the dog in the morning, it's like it controls the energy of your house. I take that so serious.
Man.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'll be getting hyped.
No, and there's no apologies necessary. No apologies necessary. Because I will say this. I was preparing for this interview and I just felt like, I know God talks to me, so I just felt like this interview about to be like, it's going to help some people. And I feel like we have not, so just to let y'all know, I've never met Kayo. I came across him on social media and was like, yo, this guy just seems to be an incredible guy. I looked at, what you was doing with your music and your following and your posts. And I'm like, oh, this is dope. He sings solid. And I'm one of those people that, spooky as it might sound, sometimes I just spirit-led and stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay, this person. Truth of the matter is, Kayo wasn't supposed to be this week. He was supposed to be another week.
Yeah.
They told me his wife was pregnant and about to have a baby. I called my mom and I said, Mama, what we gonna do? She was like, let's move him up, because my mom is the one who is running my admin part. I don't have that wherewithal. I'm the artist. I got a manager, I got my mama, and I got my homie who helped me with my marketing. So like, I'm smart. That's another creative corner, but I'll save that for another
Absolutely.
week. So yeah, but ultimately, like, I knew it was going to be something in this interview that was going to be impactful. So what I keep hearing happening, or as you're talking, what keeps happening in my head, is so many similarities in our lives. It's crazy. Keep crossing paths. What's going on, John? So many, crossing paths. But when you talked about, like, your doctor said you were a dead man walking at 13. First of all, I want to hear that story, but clearly there was something in that built your faith to a place now where, even though you got a little weary with your wife losing, having the miscarriages and those things, it still shaped like your foundation. Because what you could have said was, you could have not texted the group to say, y'all pray for me. You could have went in a corner and just be like, I'm done. Again, going back to that, there's so many people who have been through less than what we have been through and have given up.
Yeah.
They've thrown in the towel for less than we've ever seen. And like, you can go through 20 things. One person can see one thing bad and they be like, oh, I quit on it all, right?
Right.
But you didn't. So if you don't mind, take us down that street.
Man, let's go.
You a dead man walking is what the doctor tell you?
Man, look, so I was playing football, and you had to get like the physicals and stuff. All right. So I go to the doctor, and my mom had high blood pressure diabetes. Dad had high blood pressure diabetes. So I think I'm good. I'll go to get my physical, and I found out I had a heart murmur and blood pressure was like, man, it was sky high, especially for me to be that young. And instead of the doctor saying like, well, wow, young man, like, this is what you got going on. Like, this might be something you need to work on. Woo, woo, woo. And lady told me I was a dead man walking. And I remember, man, I could laugh at it now because it's like, man, when people don't know God, they just say crazy stuff, man. But I remember like going back to the car and was like almost crying, like, Mama, the lady said I'm gonna die. And and like as the years progressed, I didn't think much about it. But then like now I'm sitting here and it's just resonating on me so many times. Like, yo, I remember when the doctor said this. That was 10 years ago. That's 20 years ago now. Still feeling good, feeling great, blood pressure good. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
Once again, I go back to the same fact. You got to know who you are. You got to know whose you are. And y'all got to start letting people, like sometimes people speak stuff over us and we accept it, right? It don't manifest in your life unless you accept it. So if somebody tell you you ain't going to be nothing, you never going to have this, if you accept it, that's on you. I ain't gonna accept that. I'm gonna be good, old and gray. You know, when I kick this bucket.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing, and that speaks to purpose. Like God had a plan and had a purpose for your life in this earth. And the funny part is, I think sometimes as creatives, we hang our hat on our creativity and what we do, right? And we make that who we are, and what I do and who I am are two different things. But ultimately, God can use you in an uncanny way. He can set up this platform of you rapping and doing all this stuff just to talk to one person that he really want to get to. It don't have nothing to do with rap. Like they may not ever, crazy as it sounds, they may not ever hear you rap. They may not ever see you on a stage, but because maybe you were in Utah doing a show for a youth conference, and it's some random person at the Starbucks. Y'all stop at Starbucks so you get some tea, and the next thing you know, it's like you had a whole ministry moment, and God will be like, I did this just for that one moment.
Yep.
I was thinking about that recently. We see the people in the Bible, like some of the people we see do all these elaborate things, right? So David he kept doing this. I'm talking about the positive things. He did this for God. He did that for God. Then you have people who like Enoch, who just walked with God so much so that God took him up. First sign of resurrection we ever see. The only sign of resurrection we see without death, right? So when we see that, God, that's the only thing, that was his only purpose in life, was to walk with God. And that is a testament to us. I remember as a kid saying, God, I want to walk like you. I want to walk with you like Enoch did. I don't want you to take me before you're ready for me to go, but I want to walk with you in that way. And I can say in a lot of ways, there's been times that I've been in some crazy situations that I didn't even put myself in, but I knew God was walking with me because God protected the people around me because of me walking with him. I never forget, I had a friend who had gotten into it with this guy. Really, the guy walked in my friend's house. I wasn't even supposed to be at the house. I came to the house to tell my boy happy birthday and was going back home. One of my cousins begged me not to leave. She was like, I don't know why, but I feel like something bad gonna happen. And I feel like if you hear Chester, you good. Like, they're gonna be good. Long story short, at the end of the night, this guy points a gun at my face and tells me he's gonna shoot my friends. And I'm talking to him, telling him, you don't want to do that. Now, when I'm saying you don't want to do that, I got the 23rd Psalms and the Lord's Prayer in my head in rotation. But in that moment, it's one of those things of like, God could have been doing whatever clearly he was doing something, because I at that point in my life, I wasn't hanging out like that. You know, it was Saturday night. I wanted to go to bed and be in the church in the morning. And it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm making sure people get home safe. I'm making sure it's one girl got alcohol poisoning. I'm making sure they get her to the hospital. It's like all this chaos is happening. You know what I'm saying? And God can use you in a situation like that. So that right there is amazing, bro. Like,
look, when we talk about calling over your life, like how you was like the girl had alcohol poisoning, y'all probably like a little party or a kickback. Look, I can remember being in the club, right? I was doing security for a while, and I remember somebody coming into the club. Somehow they got a gun in the club and letting off shots like very close to me, and everybody ducking over stuff. And it's like, I can remember walking home one night in Baltimore and somebody pulling a gun on me and aiming it in my face. It's crazy how when God has a purpose over your life, how he will protect you from stuff. But it's like he'll let you get just close enough for you to know that it was him. Nobody else besides him. they got you out of that situation, because a lot of other people were in that same situation and they didn't make it. You know what I mean? So that's why when I tell y'all, like, I try not to let myself have a bad day, man, because it's like, it's just not like some cool saying when I'm like, yo, man, like, God is good all the time, right? That's not just some cool saying. Like, you know, like, a bad day with God still way better than your best day without Christ, man, because like nobody gonna love you like God is gonna love you, man. And
Yeah.
a lot of us, what's going on in the world right now, there's such a lack of empathy and a lack of love because people don't know God. They know of God. They know of God, right? It's like, we know we some dude in there, some dude up there,
Yeah.
right? They know that, they know it's something, but see, they don't spend the time to create that relationship with them. You know, it's like we're scared to come to
Yeah.
God and be brutally honest when we mess up, or to say that, like, yo, Lord, I need you. I can't do this by myself. See, when you know God, not know of him, know God, man, you start walking different, man.
Absolutely, man. Man, you said a mouthful. This has been a really great interview. Dang, y'all, we got a little ways to go, and I try to have try to let y'all out of this church by 10 o'clock. All right, I got a flight to catch tomorrow, and I got to
All right, here we
get
go.
back.
Here we go. Here we go.
But this thing is so good, yo. It's so good. Um, before I ask any more questions, well, this is a question, but before I go into my written questions, do you have any new music? Do you have new product out? Do you got stuff coming out? Like, tell us what's
Yes.
going on.
I have a new song, Holy Diggity. It has a really dope Blackstreet sample on it. That's dropping December 1st. Me and my boy Deacon Authority, we just dropped a record like last week. That's out right now. New clothing line just got added to Amazon. Glory to God. The acronym is LITY, L-I-T-Y, stands for Lord, I thank you. My wife came up with it. So, yeah. God moving, man.
Yo, that's lit. That's lit.
That's LITY. Let's go.
Man. So listen, is the clothing line? I know you said you just got like greenlit or whatever to Amazon. Is it already on your website? Like,
on the website and everything. Link in my bio, y'all.
okay. And what's your website? I'll put it in the comment now and pin it.
KayoBracey.net.
I need y'all to bombard this brother. Come on now, phone. Don't try to separate it. I said it's one word. .net. I'm putting it in there, so grab that if you can. Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. All right, I got a few more questions. What is the best show that you've ever had?
Oh man. Probably the joint I had in Atlanta with my brothers at the Infinity Music Festival. That joint was
Okay.
it was lit, man. And quick, because I know we gotta go. But it was crazy because they had two stages and we were like on the smaller stage and the setup wasn't as nice. And a lot of us had gotten our feelings about that. But it's just a trip how sometimes God can take you from what you feel like is a low place and just elevate you. Like, man, that our little stage was so dope, so lit. People was down there getting saved. And once again, like all of the artists that were on the smaller stage, those are my brothers that I talk to every day. So it was that one.
That's dope. That's dope. And so tell us real quick, who else was on the platform with you?
Trey Lou, Corey Bates, King James, Razzie, my boy K Shire. And it's crazy because when I tell you, like, all of these brothers are like moving and booming. Every time I look up, it's like one of them is doing something amazing, like for the kingdom of God. I'm just happy that God like called that together the way he did. We was in our feelings and real salty to talk about Ray Duggar real quick. I'm sitting, we like, man, we feel like we should be over there. This stage ain't set up. Ray Duggar walks by and Ray Duggar said, like, man, I hope somebody gets saved today. Mindset totally different. You know what I mean? We complain and Ray Duggar saying, I hope somebody gets saved today, man. So just to have cats like that in your circle, it's just iron is sharper than
Yeah,
iron, you know what I mean?
absolutely. What is and this is, maybe I should have written it differently, but what is the craziest tour or show experience you had? Not necessarily best, but like, have you had any Like you like, I can't believe this is happening.
I went to a Chris Brown concert. It was crazy. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, it was just the professionalism. Man, what really trips me out about Chris is how he can dance and he does so much and he still has his breath. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that was something I used to admire about Beyonce. Like I heard Beyonce would like be running on a treadmill and like singing her records. So now my crazy behind being here, rapping about God running on a treadmill. You know, just trying to
Yeah,
make sure
it's a real thing.
yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, Chris Brown concert was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. No, that might not have been the most Christian answer, y'all. I'm just telling you, that was the craziest one.
This is my honest belief. I do believe that we must honor God with everything we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
We should be intentional in honoring God. But I also believe that every gift is from above because that's what the scripture says. So, you know, this show isn't about like church, or it's really about people who believe in Jesus Christ walking in their calling, purpose, and identity. So you good, bro.
Yeah.
You good. So this is like one of my questions I try to kind of close with every show, and it's a question about sacrifice. The question is, what is a time, or what's one time where you had to put your purpose before your person? Maybe it's I had one person say like they had to like sacrifice how much they needed to pay this bill, but instead they sacrificed and bought some machine computer that then ended up giving them 10 times the amount they needed for the bill, right? But then I had another person who was like, you know, when they went on the stage, they had to say like, hey, I really want to do this, but instead, because I know this is what I'm called to do, this is my purpose, I'm gonna do this. So do you have any situation that you would consider, or you would say, where you put the purpose before your person?
You know, God don't never call you at the convenient time, okay? So I had this song called Take Off that was secular, just as dirty as it wanted to be, right? And Takeoff was starting to go crazy on the radio in my hometown, and like other DJs were starting to ask for it, like, yo man, we need that record, we need that record. We had shot a video for it, labels calling, like it was going crazy. And that is the moment where the Lord started tapping me on my shoulder, right?
Wow.
So, and literally, I didn't have the desire to talk about the stuff I was talking about anymore. People were starting to call me for concerts and more shows, or you know, radio DJs were asking for the record. And I'm literally telling these people like, "Yo, man, I can't do it no more," you know. And once again, the timing was crazy, but when I tell you, that's when my mother was still living, and I could just see the pride in my mom's face. Like my mom was proud of me when she would hear the songs on the radio, but I remember one time she was like, "Man, I just wish you ain't talk the way you was talking on these records." When I started rapping about God, man, I could see the joy in my mama's face, and I was rapping about God and still winning awards, like still traveling. So it's like, it's crazy. God will give you the desires of your heart, but you got to delight yourself in Him. He want to give it to you, but you got to do it the right way. And when I tell you, when I started trusting God and just really like telling God, like, I don't care about blowing up, man. I just want some people to get saved and just hear your ministry. He started putting me on bigger platforms. So I'm just trying to, like I said, stay grounded, stay obedient. I'm letting God do what He do, man.
That's amazing, man. Listen, in closing, is there anything that you want to tell creatives tonight? And before you even answer that, thank you for everybody who's been watching. Thank you for those who've been commenting. Thank you for those who've been showing love. If you have not already, send this to a creative that you might know. This is going to stay up. So this is the show. I do it every Monday. Every episode stays up. It's also going to go to YouTube, and it'll be on Facebook. I'll be sharing the link in both places. So if you aren't already, please follow Kayo. He's also on Facebook. Like, follow, show support, show some love, stream his music, all those good things. But I just want you to talk to the heart of the creatives and just encourage them before we walk away from the show.
Man, strive for excellence, man. Hold on. First, shout out my boy Remo. What up, Remo? Strive for excellence, man. Like, don't be okay with being average. Like, hold yourself accountable and be be professional enough to be able to accept criticism and not take it so personal. Even like, look, whether that's you working in ministry or whether you're just like doing music, like so many times somebody might tell us they don't like this song or it doesn't sound right sonically, or you might want to tweak this, and we get personal. Man, you a hater. Maybe the song whack. Sometimes the song is whack. I do records in the house, and sometimes my wife says, I don't like that one. And most of the time when she says, yeah, it don't be like that. But when it's the one, she said, yeah, I like that. You know, so it's like you have to be open to criticism and understand that it's just like it's a refining process. Every song you write is not gonna be dope. We wish it was, but every song isn't gonna be the one. So just constantly striving for excellence and being humble enough to, you know, be able to accept feedback. You're gonna hear a lot of no's, but you can hear a couple yeses, and that one or two yeses can change your life, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, y'all, Kayo has told us a lot. He's got new merch coming. He's got a clothing line that's going to be on Amazon soon. Y'all got to go to his website. The website, I thought I had pinned it, but it must have moved. I'm going to pin it, though, just in case in these last few minutes someone may, if I can find it quickly, someone may want to go to the website. There it is. Pin comment. Boom. Someone may want to follow him, may want to, you know, get some merch or whatever. Christmas coming up, y'all. Buy that man out. He got a baby on the way. Baby coming in about a month.
Yeah.
Actually, let's see, 6 weeks. So 6 weeks from
Yeah.
counting. Might even be early. So listen, buy him out. Buy him out, bless him. Don't send him a baby gift. Buy the clothes from Amazon. That's what he needs you to do. Come on. But he's got music out. He's clearly a stand-up brother, clearly doing some major things. Man, I salute you. Awesome job.
Yeah.
Everything you're doing. Thank you for sharing your heart and being transparent. You don't have to get up here and say your business. Shout out to your wife who has been showing you love. Y'all don't understand how much, like, I say this to my friends. Like, I think it's really important for us to see Christian couples, like, doing stuff. And, like, she ain't necessarily, like, being extra. She just, like, showing her husband love. So thank you. Shout out to everybody who's watched this, who tuned in. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Next week, I'm going to have another hip-hop artist, my brother, my friend Stitch, Early, who also has a clothing line. He's got a lot of cool stuff coming out. So that flyer will be coming out in the next, I don't know, 2 days. It's Thanksgiving. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this show. And if you want to, go check out the other two shows. The first one was with Julia McMillan, who is a renowned singer. She sang background for everybody that you could think of in the gospel industry and some people in the hip hop and R&B industry or whatever. And she's doing some really major things. And then if you're in the Baltimore area and you need a studio to go to, you got to watch last week's episode. My man's last week told us the way he got inspired to start doing music and to be who he is in entertainment is because a crackhead, I shouldn't say it that way, but this is how he said it. A crackhead murdered his grandmother for $20. And he wanted to be a good guy for the rest of his life. And when I tell y'all this guy, hands down, is just a good guy, like good guy, 100%. So, you know, to hear people go through challenging times, but they still come out on top, it's phenomenal. So, Kayo, thank you for your transparency tonight, brother. I hope you guys have enjoyed this show. No problem, man. I hope you've enjoyed this show. Tell somebody about it. If you see me on live the next time, send it to somebody else again. If you're not already, let's follow each other. Let's make it happen. I hope you guys have an incredible Monday night and have a safe and a love-filled Thanksgiving. Even if you're by yourself, remember, it's hard to be sad and depressed when you're being grateful. All right. Peace.
Amen. Peace.